What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Knicks. I'm here with my co-host and friend Dylan Backer, and we're coming off of a big win against Houston. And I mean big, not just in a sense that, it obviously is going to increase their chances of getting the fifth seed, but they blew them out, right? We had talked about, having a convincing win over Houston, really showing them that you are the more talented team. And without Jalen Brunson, they blew them out, right? And I said this, when we were talking about that game and previewing it, it doesn't matter if there's Brunson there and Brunson's not there. That shouldn't be the reason why you win or lose that game. You're clearly better than them. Play like it, and that's exactly what they did. The chirping about Randall and Quickly's fight earlier against the Magic, that little argument, I think you could put that to bed for sure now. I mean, you could have put it to bed the second it happened, honestly, but, they both went out there and they had an incredible game starting together. Quickly was the main guy of that game. He went out there and put up a 40 bomb, a very efficient 40 bomb. With that being said, we have a big matchup with Miami tonight. We have a lot of things to talk about. Jalen Brunson's obviously still a topic of discussion, but before we get into everything, Dylan, how are you doing today, my friend? And tell me a little bit about that Houston game.
Right. So first off, I'm doing good, and the Houston game, it was weird because it was on the surface, we win by 20 plus points. It looks like a great win, right? But the defense was honestly still not great. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just a fact. We gave up 115 points to one of the worst scoring teams in the NBA. But because we won the game, you kind of just take it, you live with it, you hope that they just move on to improve from there, because winning does solve issues, I notice. So, hopefully winning this game right here will solve the defensive issue, and maybe tonight against Miami, they play a much better defense. But offensively, I was really encouraged what I saw. They didn't have, I know it's Houston, but they didn't have Jalen Brunson, so they were still undermanned. Emmanuel quickly had another spot start, and he just had the game of his life. I mean, 40 points, 14 of 18 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. He had 9 assists as well. I mean, you couldn't get any better than that, and that's out of a spot start. The guy usually plays the bench, and he comes in to start, and he does this. This has become a normal thing. He comes in to replace, an injury, and he comes in to start, and he just does this. I mean, it's becoming normal now, and, really, we need to start talking about, how much money is Quickly going to make in the offseason, because he's extension eligible. We got to start talking about, how much money are the Knicks willing to give him, to keep him around, because right now, Quickly is, a very important piece going forward, I think. So, the Knicks need to try to do everything they can to keep him around. I think he makes that bench just phenomenal, and he makes the team a whole lot deeper, and you can insert him kind of anywhere. We all know by now that he's good enough to start. We know that. Maybe with Jalen Brunson around, that would be a little difficult, but because he's been able to play the shooting guard spot too, it's not necessarily impossible to find a way to get him to start games, And it's also not impossible to get him to at least play 30 minutes a night coming off the bench. He already closes games for the most part, so, we're able to get him in more often than most teams are able to get their sixth man in the game, right? So that's good right there. And of course, it boosts his Sixth Man of the Year campaign. At this point, it's pretty much Quickly's award to lose. I don't think, at this point, I think he's pulled away from Malcolm Brogdon in that regard. Brogdon's been great this year, yes, but we've mentioned before, I think Quickly just impacts the Knicks more than Brogdon does to the Celtics. I think Quickly makes a larger difference, so therefore I think Quickly should be the Sixth Man of the Year. I'm hoping when the season wraps up, that it's all said and done, that he does win that award. That would be nice to see. But at the end of the day, that's not my main focus. My main focus is wrapping up the rest of this season. We got, I think, 5 games remaining or something like that. We have a big game against Miami tonight. We just played Miami and we lost to them. That kind of hurt because it kept Miami kind of alive a bit in that playoff race, because if we were able to beat Miami last week, we kind of would have buried them a bit, and it would have made it really difficult for them to kind of get out of that. So now tonight, you kind of have to get your vengeance, right? Beat them this time and show them, all right, we're better than you guys. We deserve that 5th spot. You guys aren't going to get that 5th spot from us. We're not letting that happen. And they need to do that tonight. I think the Houston win was a great confidence boost after losing 3 straight. I think it gave them confidence. Like I said, the defense wasn't phenomenal. They gave up 115 points. They gave up 80 points through 3 quarters. I mean, that's not great. But like I said, you won the game. You take it. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the defense all day because, at the end of the day, they did win the game. So that's all that matters. Like you mentioned before the beginning, it doesn't really matter how you win these games. Just win them. Just win these games. Get into the playoffs on a winning streak or on some sort of, good run. And then, kick it into third gear when you get into that playoffs. Kick it into high gear and get it going. Obviously I want to see them keep doing that right now. But eventually teams will slow down. But, big game against Miami. I just hope they have a, big game tonight. Hopefully they play better defense. I'm hoping they could score as efficiently as they did against Houston. What do you think is the most important thing they need to do tonight against Miami?
Yeah, well, we saw the three-point shot come back for the Knicks against Houston. 43.6% from three on 39 attempts. You're going to take that. As you mentioned, was a defensive effort great? I think the effort was there. The performance wasn't there in the first half. I think they looked a lot better in the second half defensively, which you love to see. But, at the end of the day, man, it's going to come down to continuing to get these elite performances from guys who expect to perform. RJ Barrett, I think, had a pretty good night. I know he dropped, it's 19 points. It's not going to blow anyone away, but I think he had a good night. I think that's good basketball there. He didn't get gashed, I think. I think that, yes, Jalen Green had 19 points. Again, that's going to, on paper, look good or not bad. But he did so very inefficiently. Kevin Porter Jr. had a big night, but again, if you're going to take Jalen Green and Kevin Porter and you're going to combine them for, about league average efficiency on, under 50 points, that you've done a job there, right? These guys are shooting the basketball more than anyone on that team. And they just didn't have big nights. And that's what you expect that's what you expect your team to continue to do. You expect to go out there and get that level of defensive production. We talked about this on Monday where those two guys, they're not efficient scorers, right? So they shouldn't go out there and put up efficient points. And again, Porter did, but you held down Jalen Green. As long as you held down one of them, I think you were fine. We've talked also about Quentin Grimes and his three-point shooting. He went 4 for 9 from three, right? Is that elite? No, but is it really good? Yes, I'm taking that. If he makes 4 out of every 9 3-pointers he makes, he's shooting 45% from three, right? Actually, I'm going to take that back. That is elite. I don't know why I said I was trying to downplay that. But end of the day, right? You're getting the 3-point shooting you need. Obviously, Quickly just had an absolutely remarkable night, but you're not going to expect 40 points on 18 shots every night from Emmanuel Quickly. Julius Randle played well. You just hope that your guys continue to play the way the way they're supposed to play. I feel like outside of Quickly dropping 40, I think everyone kind of played to their talent level, right? You're going to regress Quickly's performance, going forward because number one, Brunson's going to be here, so he's going to score a lot less. But you should anticipate that when Quentin Grimes needs to hit a big shot, he can. You should anticipate that if Randall's out there, he can give you 25 plus points and do so on pretty decent efficiency. Mitchell Robinson only played 20 minutes and he only had one attempt and he made his attempt from the field. But you know what? I'm going to take that I'm going to take that. The defense wasn't great, but and that's got to work on, and he's got to, and that's got to improve a little bit, but we know he's a great defender, right? But I'm fine with him not having a huge role in the offense. I'm fine with the production he got off the bench. Toppin had an excellent game. Josh Hart, another one of those games where is it elite in terms of the stat categories that you look at first? No, but it was great. He played great defense, right? So, this team just needs to play like the New York Knicks can play, right? These guys, ever since this team has had Josh Hart, this team has been one of the best teams in the NBA. And there's a reason for that, because they're just good, right? Against Miami tonight, the big thing is to just play to your talent level. You are a better team than Miami Heat. You have a better depth. You have better starters. You have everything going for you. The only thing you really don't have is the best player on the court, and that's Jimmy Butler, right? But when you look at what's surrounding Jimmy Butler, it's nothing there that should scream, this team is going to beat us. You should beat the Miami Heat. I think they will beat the Miami Heat, but it's just going to come down to play to the back of your basketball card.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. Play to your talent level. Like you said, these guys, a lot of these guys are not like box score explosion guys, aside from maybe like Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, right? Of course, they usually light up the box score every single night they're out there. But, a lot of these other guys quietly provide impactful basketball to winning. Like you said, Josh Hart, he doesn't provide explosive stats, but he provides, very impactful play. If you watch him on the court, he's impactful. If you look at the stat sheet, you're going to be like, oh, he's okay. He does decent. If you watch him play, you'll see how impactful he really is. Same goes for guys like, Quentin Grimes or RJ Barrett, guys, Mitchell Robinson, guys like that. They may not explode the box score, but they really do impact winning, right? And as long as their head is right too, then that's a good thing as well. Mitchell Robinson obviously had his little Snapchat fiasco last week or whatever. It seems like that's kind of pushed under the rug a little bit, and that's probably a good thing because we do need him to have his head right down this stretch. It's good so far to see that, he's still playing pretty well up to his standard. Obviously I wish, he would play a little bit better defense, I guess, but, I can't point fingers at Mitch when everyone's defense is struggling right now. I can't do that. That's just unfair. So, but bottom line, tonight, like you said, they don't have the best player on the court. Jimmy Butler's the best player on the court, but like you said, they should be able to beat this team. This team is not very deep at all. They don't have many pieces. It's mostly just Butler, Bam, and then the rest of them pretty much. That's how I see the Heat. And, I'm not saying like you want to underestimate them because the Heat do have star power, so therefore they can beat you. They are a team that can win games, but they're also a team you should be able to beat. And especially a team like the Knicks where they're just simply a deeper and more well-rounded team. You should be able to handle these guys, especially since you're at home in the Garden, too. You should be able to handle these guys. I know Jimmy Butler didn't play last night. He sat against the Raptors, so he's probably going to be rested and ready to go if he does, in fact, play tonight, which I expect that to happen. The Heat are also going to be on a back-to-back, though, as a team, so therefore you got to take advantage of that. You have a rest advantage here. You had the day off. The Miami Heat did not have the day off yesterday. They played yesterday, so therefore you need to take advantage of that and, beat them like this, run them, get them a little tired, take advantage of them being tired in this one, you know what I mean? But looking at tonight's game, I definitely think a guy to watch for, if he plays, is Jalen Brunson. We don't know if he's going to play just yet. Right now he's listed as questionable, but there is a chance he could play tonight. I know on the broadcast during the Houston game, they were saying the expectation is that he would be available to play because he did go through practice this past Sunday, and then he sat Monday. He probably sat Monday because of the weaker opponent. If we could give him the extra day of rest, you can afford that because it's a much weaker opponent. Clearly it paid off. We still won by 20 plus and got a career game out of Emmanuel quickly in the process. We're not going to get another 40-point performance from Quickly probably again, but I can expect more, 20-point performances, 15-point performances off the bench, which is phenomenal, really, for a six-man. I mean, I looked at a stat the other day. In his last 40 games, he's averaging like 17 points per game, and a lot of these games are him coming off the bench. Obviously, some of them are starts that were thrown in, but 17 points per game as a guy who's for the most part a six-man. That's phenomenal. That's like very elite for six men. There's a reason why he's the front runner to win the award because not many six men can really consistently put up high scoring performances like that. And he's shooting the ball much more efficiently too. He's shooting around like 47% from the field and 38 from three in that 40 game stretch that I just mentioned. He's doing really well. We have a deeper squad. But I know I just pivoted too quickly, but basically Brunson's kind of the guy to watch for tonight because Brunson, if he is healthy, I can expect him to have a really big game against Miami's weaker backcourt. I know last time he played against Miami, he had a pretty decent game, but I expect a much bigger night out of him this time if he does play. I just see it because Brunson's the type of guy who he just wants to win games. He wants to get this team out of the ruts that they enter. He wants to get them back into rhythm. He wants to win games. He's his biggest critic. If he doesn't play up to his standard, and his standard is pretty dang high. We've seen he'll have like a 35-point masterclass, and then he'll be like in the post game be like, "Oh, I could have done better." There's not much you could do better about that, but I respect Brunson's mindset for that because that's very like winning dedicated, winning motivated, right? So seeing things like that, I can expect a big night out of him. If he doesn't play, just watch for Julius Randle again with another big night. Even Emmanuel Quickly, too. Watch for those two if Brunson doesn't play tonight. Those two, they had their little skirmish against Orlando. I think now their performances against Houston officially put that, worry under the bed, like you said. We don't need to really worry about that anymore because they both played really well against Houston. I think Randle had like 29 points or something like that. And, of course, Quickly's 40-point game. So those worries are gone, right? So if Brunson doesn't play, just watch for Quickly and Randle to have another big night. If Brunson does play, keep an eye on Brunson, see how he's performing, after missing a couple games with the hand issue, how he feels being back in game speed. If he's, usually we've seen him come back from injuries and then come right back and as if he didn't miss a beat. So I can expect him to do that again whenever he does return, if that is in fact tonight. So let's just hope we get a big night out of Brunson, really.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And, this game has massive implications for multiple reasons. Number one, obviously, you're in the fifth seed chase. But number two, the Miami Heat have the better in-division record than the New York Knicks do. And that's the direct tiebreaker right after your head-to-head matchup. So, or division winners, excuse me. And they might actually, I'm trying to double check the divisional standings because NBA divisions are really weird. But trying to see here, they could, they probably are going to win their division as well. So that's the other direct tiebreaker there. So if you're the New York Knicks, you want that head-to-head. You need to win this game so that you have the head-to-head and you have the advantage. If you lose this game, right, you're going to be, yes, on paper, you'll be just 2 games back in the loss column. But realistically, it's, if they tie you, they lead you and there's nothing you can do about it. So if you win tonight, you take the tiebreaker. So you put them 4 games back in the loss column and then that tiebreaker makes it an extra game basically. So I think you can all but eliminate them from the fifth seed tonight. So get the job done. And, kind of final thoughts here on my end, for my prediction for tonight's game, I think that, I'm going to look at Julius Randle. Julius Randle, I think, is the guy to look at tonight. He's been someone that I think all year has had his ups and downs, yes, but overall in the season, he's been excellent, right? And I think that we haven't had that like monster, just unbelievable game in a win for Julius Randle in a little bit, and I want to see that tonight. I think we can. For tonight's predictions, for a score prediction, I've got 115 to 113 Knicks. I think it's going to be a very close game. The Heat are one of the worst offensive teams in the league. They actually are the worst offensive team in the East in terms of points per game. I think they'll play the Knicks tight, though. They have a pretty good defense in terms of at least points allowed. Now, whether that's because they don't score enough on their own, maybe that helps their defense. I don't know. But end of the day, I don't think the Knicks are going to have an offensive explosion, but I also don't think they're going to hold the Heat down too much. I think this is going to be a really close game. It's going to come down to the last minute, and I think the Knicks are going to be able to prevail here. As you mentioned, the Heat are coming off of back-to-back. I think they're just kind of tire them, or they're going to tire them out, or they're going to outlast them a little bit. What do you think?
No, yeah, I definitely agree it'll be a close game. My score prediction will be Knicks 110, Heat 106. Very close game. I think it'll be a multi-possession game, though, when it's all said and done, because I do think the Knicks will have the advantage here, that they have the rest advantage. They just got off a big win against Houston, which boosted their confidence a little bit. So I do think they'll be able to play tighter defense. I think they'll get a little motivated after seeing They still get up 115 points to Houston. Like, okay, we still won the game, but clearly we have to fix some things on that side of the floor. So hopefully they do that tonight. The window is closing for Miami to get that fifth seed, right? There's only a couple of games left. There's only about a week and a half left of the season. So the Knicks can bury them right here and finish them off. Pretty much essentially they won't technically clinch the fifth seed, but it'll take something catastrophic to lose that fifth seed if we win tonight, if the Knicks win tonight and then they somehow lost the fifth seed, that would be catastrophic. That would take something like really insane to happen for that. I personally think that. I know Brooklyn is still in the hunt too, but right now the Knicks control their own destiny. They have it in their lap, so they got to basically secure it, right? So I think like I said, I think it'll be a close game tonight. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I do think it'll be close. I do think the Knicks can get a multi-possession win, though. I think they can win by 2 possessions, which is why I said 110, 106. I feel like they can still, kind of hold on a little bit. I'm hoping that they don't go down big and then have to claw their way back, because then, that tires out the team and it kind of can cause like a fourth quarter kind of stalling where they just kind of don't really have an offensive flow. We've seen that a lot. So I'm hoping that they can at least keep up. If they play from behind, I'm hoping they can at least keep up and then pull away at the very end and jump out in front and kind of steal it. Or I'm hoping they can just lead all the way through, kind of just play the close game, keep up with them, but don't let them get too close to you, right? Don't let Miami get on a big run and get them too close to you. Just keep the lead going, keep playing your brand of basketball, play tough defense. Don't let Jimmy Butler get hot, because when Jimmy Butler got hot last week, it buried us, right? He killed us. So don't let that happen again. Find a way to stop him from going off. Really, same thing with like Bam. Don't let Bam go crazy in the mid range. Don't let him get hot in the paint. Things like that. The basic stuff that you should already kind of have in the back of your head when you think about this matchup, right? Basically, just play your brand of basketball, win this game. I don't really care how they win this game, because the season's wrapping up. So just win this game. Win this game and pretty much get that fifth seed pretty much even more secured in your lap and finish strong. That's the way I see it tonight. What do you think?
I 100% agree. I think that I think that prediction of having, a game where the Knicks kind of trail early and then they kind of come back from behind. They look like he kind of just play a little bit gas in the fourth quarter. I could totally see that. But as you said, Jimmy Butler, they cannot let Jimmy Butler torch them like that again. I think there's going to be heightened, defensive effort on the Knicks end. They know that they've been torched from 3. They know that they have not played good defense as of late. They also know that the Miami Heat should not drop 127 points on them again. The Knicks dropped 120 of them the last time they played. That should be enough to win a game against Miami, right? If you score 120 points and you lose tonight, it's all on the defense, right? Unless it's like triple overtime and you had some like an incredible amount of time to play to get those 120 points, assuming you get 120 points in regulation, there is legitimately zero reason for you not to win this game. The defense needs to show up tonight. You have the personnel. If you have Brunson there, it's also going to allow quickly to run with the second unit and improve the defense of the second unit. Grimes is hot from three. Josh Hart's been consistently just excellent at basketball his entire tenure here. You feel like Randall's played a little bit better as of late. When you have Brunson not line up, the spacing's better. Quietly, RJ Barrett has been able to kind of put together some decent performances. This should be the that game against Houston should be the catalyst, should be that, okay, we have that win. We have that monkey off our back of that string of losses. We've got to just get this one game right. You control your destiny with the 5th seed. So I'm really excited for tonight's game. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere. As you mentioned, it's at MSG. So make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys are ready for what is going to be a big game for the Knicks tonight. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for your support. Let us know what you guys think is going to go on in tonight's game. We appreciate you guys checking this out. You guys can follow us on our Twitters. They are above our heads. You guys can check us out on our multiple social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter, and of course the YouTube page and the Instagram. And make sure to turn on post notifications, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.